First and foremost, I want to thank Dr. Lewis Gates, Don Medley, and all the Cassadaga staff for having me here today. As you already know, my name is Francisco Valentín, and I am the author and publisher of the transcript delivering the message today. Therefore, let me briefly define where the message comes from. Transcripts are insights of higher truth given by the collective forces of knowledge and wisdom as to the origin and purpose of life as I receive, perceive, and prescribe from time to time. As to the nature of the collective forces of knowledge and wisdom, some people call them angels, ascended master, higher sources, and I call and I ask, because if you're going to be a channeler, you want to know who you're channeling, right? So I ask, who are you? And the response that I received was, name calling limits the source through reasoning. Rather say it comes from the collective forces of knowledge and wisdom. Now let me back up a little bit because I know that those were kind of difficult to grasp, but because I received the intent, I know exactly what they meant. Name calling limits the source through reasoning. That means that if I give you a name and I am the source, then I'm going to be limited by the information that I'm going to give you based on the reasoning that you're going to have of who I am. So if I say, Archangel, whatever, and I start talking about reincarnation, you're going to say, wait, where is this coming from? So rather say that comes from the collective forces of knowledge and wisdom. As to my true nature, some people say that I'm a channeler, others say that I'm a medium. Back in the days, I would have been called a seer or an oracle, to let her be burned in the stake. So to avoid confusion, I rather say that I am the conduit by which the information comes through. So in other words, don't shoot the messenger. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Higher truth. Remember when I said that transcripts are insights of higher truth? I also ask because, as you already know, my native language is not English. So when I hear the term higher truth, it doesn't make sense to me because it's not within my language. And if I try to translate it, I will not find a word that it will translate into. And the information they gave me is very complex, but I'm going to give you the short version. Higher truth is like math. You first need to learn to know how to add and subtract to later be able to do multiplication and division, to later understand algebra. A better example that I can give you, or another example, will be if a child comes to the mom and says, "Mom, where do babies come from?" You're not going to say, "Okay, let me show you." You're not going to do that. You're going to scar them to death. You got to start little by little. You got to start with the birds and the bees. You're not lying. You're telling the truth. You're giving them the foundation so they can understand, and later on, you start talking about the daddy's seeds and the mom's eggs, and as the child keeps growing and gets to puberty, then you'll understand higher and higher truth, little by little. But if you give them the whole version right there, first of all, they're not going to get it because they're not going to be ready. Secondly, you're going to freak them out. So to avoid that, instead of giving you a full transcript, which is very, very deep at certain levels, let me start little by little by giving you one sentence, and then because I received the intent, I will translate it to you. So this is higher truth from the collective forces of knowledge and wisdom. Truth is one, interpretations many. Very simple, right? So let me explain. I constantly hear people saying, "Hear me now, I speak the truth." Or saying, "Follow me, this is the way." Or saying, this is the only way to salvation, or else. See? So in truth, the truth is only one. And it had been said long, long, long ago. I'm not talking about centuries, I'm talking about eons. And it's only one. Now, humans' interpretations have been the one who have distorted the truth in so many ways. Because the truth had been given in analogies, metaphors, stories, and humans have taken them literally in such a way that no one no longer knows where the truth comes from. But actually the truth comes from the principle of oneness, because at the end, we all are one. But getting there is kind of hard to do. But just let me give you some facts. 4,200 religions, 953 names for God, and 2,500 deities. Deities are gods, the God of the rain, the God of the sun, and so forth. So go figure, why so much confusion? Now let me give you another higher truth from the collective forces of knowledge and wisdom, and this one is my favorite. Life is one, experiences many. Now, so here's the question. Does that mean that because life is one, I should enjoy as much as I can and experience everything that I can before I die? Isn't that what they tell you in the radio, in the media, in the news? Life is one. Take the best out of it. How deceiving is that, huh? Well, if you're today in this temple, it's because you know that life continues beyond death. And if you don't, buckle up, because you're up to a bumper ride. Then you have those other ones that believe that you live only once because you live in flesh when you are born, and then you go to the other side in perpetuity. Not so, my friends. Not so. So let me break it down in two segments. Life is one means that you are the sum total, not only since the day you were born, because we all know that we are the sum total of all our experiences. Because since the date of birth to today, you sitting here today, you are the totality of those experiences that you went through since you were born. From a beautiful family to crappy parents to good siblings, and the good, the bad, and the ugly, the religion you were raised, the way they made you see life, all the experiences that you have, plus the interpretation that you have given to that experience that makes you today who you are. You see? But you're not only that, you're also the sum total of all your experiences since creation took form. That's why Grandma can communicate with you, because she's still alive. Not in physical, but very well. And she's still Grandma, and she still cares for you guys. And she still can communicate with you through all these magnificent people that I am limited to the transcript, but these people can talk and can vibrate at a level that they can increase their energy level, the soul can decrease their energy level, so they can communicate through the intent, and they have to translate, which is not an easy task. Okay? Now, experiences many, which is the second part, means that Grandma eventually, in due time, as she learns her lessons, she will also transcend, and she will come back, and so will you. And this is the process of reincarnation. Now, if the reincarnation process is a hard pill to swallow, I invite you to read the work of Dr. Ian Stevenson. Dr. Ian Stevenson was a psychiatrist that since 1957 to his death, he traveled for 40 years, investigating 3,000 cases of children around the world who recall their previous life experiences. His work is well documented, and his scientific protocol was methodically impeccable. In other words, without a shadow of a doubt. Now you might be asking yourself, why is that not out there? It is out there, but it's not being supported because can you imagine what would happen to religion, to science, and to everything around us? So, but it's out there. And I am living proof. I do remember my previous life. I do remember being burned in the stake. That wasn't a joke. I do remember. And I remember not the physical pain, but the emotional pain. Why? Why after I've done this? Why? And I also remember a previous life when I was a monk and I was incarcerated for being too vocal. Today I'm still too vocal. And another previous life, previous to that one, I was a missionary and I was killed by the chief of the tribe because he didn't like my words. So being too vocal again, as I am today, a little bit too vocal. And you too. I bet you every single one of you at one time or another remember being in places that you say, I think I know this place. I feel the essence that I'm familiar with this. Plus your talents. You probably have talents that you know that they don't come from your parents. And some feelings that you know that come from within and not from what you have learned in this lifetime. Okay? So let me go now to read you one story that I was given as I remember one of my previous lives, when one from the collective forces of knowledge and wisdom came forward, because it's more than one, and reminded me of a life experience where I was with him and he was teaching me the spiritual ways up in the mountains. And I was a young adult and I was about to go down to the village to put into practice his teachings. And as I remember that experience, as I am remembering now, I remember this story that he told me, that it was going to be the last story he told me before I was going to go to the village. And I'm going to give you the short version because I will run out of time if not. And it's a story of this young rabbit that was one of those who nowadays call having ADD, and all the D's in between. And he went to explore, and he went into what he knew it was a rabbit hole. So he went inside a rabbit hole and he started going through one tunnel after the other, looking for all the little caves or pots that are inside. And he was amazed by what he found, and he kept going deeper and deeper from one tunnel to another cave to another tunnel, up to the point that he realized that he was lost, confused, and troubled, because he went so deep exploring inside the rabbit hole that he forgot where he came from. As many of us do from time to time. And when he realized that he was entrapped, he found a way to go back. And the only way that he could find a way to go back was to focus his attention into the path he already traced, and not being distracted by everything around him. So he started walking his path towards the entrance, looking forward to that dim light that will give him the direction to go and find his way out. And he knew he was running out of time. So at a given moment, he saw this dim light at the very end. And he knew that if he were to chase that light, he was going to find his way back to where he came from. And when he came out, he promised himself never to go back into that rabbit hole. Now, that's the rough version. What I'm going to read now today is what what I could say that came through automatic writing. And that was the message he gave me before I left. And I want to pass it on to you. And I'm going to read it as he told me back then. And he said, the story is not about not going into the rabbit hole. Although it's well known, it takes us nowhere. It is about not getting distracted with the new experiences that, although fascinating, take us nowhere but to just wanting more and more of what's out there. It's about the understanding that once you choose to explore new horizons, you must not forget the way back home. Forgetting where you came from and wanting to explore deeper into the rabbit hole is like wanting to live in darkness when there is daylight where you came from. If you must go, my son, always remember where you came from. Don't get lost in the rabbit hole. And I ask you to do the same. Because this world is full of different experiences that at the end of the day will take you nowhere. Because this is not home. It's a temporary shelter for the soul to explore and learn things. And home is not a place to dwell. It's a state of mind. It's just a new metaphor among others. Now, the story, I'm going to gift it to you because I have here the full version, full long version for you to have. So at the end, at the door, I'm going to be shaking your hands and my lovely wife is going to be next to me, handing this over to you. And if my words resonate with you and you want to learn more, today at 2 o'clock, I'm going to be right here, giving a lecture about near-death experiences and the glimpse at what lies ahead. Not from what you might have read in books or searched over the internet or learned from secular scripture, but only from first-hand experiences. Those who have taken me here today to speak to you. I thank you.